Well, Lee, I have a question for you as well as our listeners and viewers.
All right, let me have it.
The question is, do you see challenges as opportunities, or do you tend to run from challenges? Stay tuned.
Ooh.
This is the Unexpected Podcast.
All right.
What's happening?
No much.
No mucho. Ahora.
¿Qué hora es?
Well, you know what time it is? It's time for a nap.
Time for a nap.
No, it's not. How are you guys doing out there? I don't know if we're coming to you in the morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, but either way, we appreciate you.
I guarantee you it is some point in time. Because if you're watching this, you're within the confines of time.
That's deep.
Deep
Stuff.
Figure since I was wearing this vest again.
Oh, yeah. You're like a professor of
philosophy or something.
Professor of philosophy.
Is that what you said earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so.
So what is philosophizing?
Philosophizing. Well, yeah. So challenges, how do we view them? Now, I've been in a lot of meetings this week. So one of the things that was discussed.
Disgust.
Not that we were disgusted with, although who gets disgusted during meetings?
Nobody. They're perfect.
Yeah.
Meetings are awesome because you get information.
Right. That could have been an email. Sometimes. That's a joke.
It's a ongoing joke.
Some meetings are necessary and beneficial.
Absolutely.
Well,
I like meetings, I know especially when they have coffee and donuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are good meetings.
Coffee's always a good thing to offer at a meeting.
So what's the topic?
Okay, well, all right. So one of the things that was discussed I heard a talk where there was a reference to a book about having a growth mindset. Now, I'll admit I've never read this book, but I've heard many people reference it, mention it. And basically, let me give you a little rundown here.
A little synopsis.
So this is by Dr. Carol Dweck. And the book is Mindset.
Dweck.
I knew you'd have to make a joke about it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like names.
The topic should have been being immature while you're still in your late 40s. Okay. No, mindset, the new psychology of success. So basically a little part of it is explaining the difference between a fixed mindset, believing that talents and abilities are static, they don't change, versus having a growth mindset, which is the belief that abilities and skills can develop through effort. And then looking at how this impacts success. And it's not just somebody's theories either. There are actually studies along these lines that do show that people who apply these different principles actually do achieve greater achievement, whether it's in business, personal relationships, even sports, all kinds of things. So, but just so one of the things, there's just one factor that there are many factors that the book talks about, but the one about how you approach challenges is the one that I wanted us to really delve into, because I think there's an old Chinese proverb. There's something about, or I've heard it said. I'm not coming prepared in this regard, but I've heard it said that in the Chinese language, the word for challenge is also the word for opportunity. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always heard that.
Those of you that know Mandarin or Chinese, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we're only a little fluent. Kidding.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so let's just start with your thoughts about this. And obviously, we're not going to be uniform across the board. In other words, there might be some aspects of your life where you're ready to embrace a challenge, others where you just shut down and say, forget it. I don't really want to deal with it.
For me, I think we get to a point to where the challenge is so significant that we shut down.
Yeah.
If the challenge is too much for us to deal with and we don't see the relevance or the benefit of the challenge, we kind of say, man, it ain't worth it.
And do you think that's a legitimate response sometimes?
I think it is sometimes a legitimate response, but other times, if it is in the arena in which you want to be, the arena of just living in like me, I'm an audio engineer.
Right.
With AI coming up and all of the things, I'm being challenged to learn how to use AI as a tool and not as a crutch. I'm having to learn how do I integrate, like Waves AQ, which is like an automated AI EQ equalizer for something. I have to learn why it's doing it. How is it doing it? And is it even relevant, or do I just need to depend on my ears? Or is this a shortcut to help me speed up my mixing process? Because it is a challenge to get your mind wrapped around. You can't teach. Well, let's go to the old adage. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, or can you?
Right.
Is the dog willing?
Is the dog willing? That's what I was going to suggest.
And so this old dog is willing to change and learn.
Yeah.
And I want to, because I enjoy it, and I know that I'll play music because I love people and I want people to enjoy music. I like to lead worship because I love to focus on the Lord, and I like for people to go with me in that arena. But I also play music with friends just for fun, and different songs of different types. A challenge that I have is learning new songs and playing them the way they were initially played, because I have a tendency to change them to fit the way I play, which is okay.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but there is also a benefit to learning it in its original form and then adjusting and making it your own.
Right.
Well, let me say this, because I wasn't even thinking about the aspect of AI, but that seems to come up in so many conversations now.
It's a pretty hot topic.
And you were talking about the challenge of learning to use it as a tool. But I would also say that for a lot of fields and a lot of interests, there's the challenge of how am I going to stand out and be relevant and be something different than what AI can produce, because there are always going to be people who want the real thing, the authentic human thing.
Absolutely.
So I was watching,
that's what I focus
as
on.
a writer, I listened to some different people that talk about writing, and a guy was making some great points the other day. AI can do a lot of things well. I mean, it could write a whole story, but it's not going to bring all the little nuances into conversations, little play on words, things that AI doesn't understand. And so a challenge for writers going forward is going to be, how can I bring, aspects of it, whether it's the dialogue or like an understanding little, just little nuances that humans understand that machines don't.
Well, I heard a friend of ours, Eddie James. He goes around, and I heard him talking about.
He goes around.
Well, he goes around. I'm sorry.
No, that
you know
was
what
great.
I mean. He goes around and plays music. He's a lead. He's a lead worshiper. He is an evangelist. He loves the Lord. He loves people, and he's always just been humble and just a real, a gentle soul. And Eddie, he was saying, he said he's concerned with AI, but in the church, we've been dealing with that for many years because of, and Eddie, if you're out there and you're listening, I apologize if I mess this up and it wasn't your intent, but I feel like it was. People getting up and leading worship, and all it is a song. There's no feeling. There's no soul.
So you're saying it's like an artificial, offering before God because there's nothing sincere in it.
And AI has come in and giving a soulless answer, a soulless song, a soulless, and that's the hard part. And differentiating between the two is pretty easy if you have a discerning heart. And you know what authentic is. Yeah. And the challenge of this is it okay for the mediocre stuff to come out as entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a sync license thing yesterday, and they were talking about, is AI going to make the authentic stand out more?
Right.
Because it is artificial. And is there a certain
because AI
energy
is artificial?
Right, because AI is artificial intelligence. Is our authenticity going to shine because there's soul behind it? Is there there's human, the flaws, the power of feeling? Is there an electromagnetic feeling behind this?
You made me just think of something I haven't thought about in years, but I've heard people say, because we live in the Bible Belt, okay?
We do.
Where everybody is, not everybody, but everybody is quote unquote a Christian. Many, many people profess
in name or
to
in
walk
practice
with Christ. But you go to a place, even if it's in the United States, like a friend was telling us this is kind of true in LA, but obviously we've had friends who visited communist China, and they'll say it's very easy to tell the real Christians from those who aren't, because they're so different. They have a different countenance.
That's what a word I was looking for. Countenance, yes.
And so is that going to be the case with all the stuff that's flowing into, the music world and other areas? And are we going to come into a time where it really becomes obvious what is soulless and
what
empty
has a soul,
and what isn't, and what will feed your soul? So that's an interesting point.
So it comes down to two things, I believe, one side or the other, and I think in the music world you have one or the other. I think it is, and you either have soul or soulless.
Yeah, and that's been the case before there was artificial intelligence and machines generating music.
Right. Mm-hmm. There are people that just sing songs because they're singing songs.
I've said it
Nothing wrong with that.
For
having
years.
Fun.
There are a lot of great singers out there,
yep.
But not everybody is a great performer. Not everybody brings something that just, that thing that makes you want to hear more from that person.
I think in the music industry they say, whatever that thing is, you have it. And nobody said, but the French say that certain je ne sais quoi. But the real fact of it is, there is a spirit, there is something that we cannot put language to,
right?
That is only felt and cannot be explained.
Right. Well, and as 1 Thessalonians 5 confirms, we're a three-part being: body, soul, and spirit. And so there are a lot of things in operation.
Yeah.
Okay, let me help us move along a little bit in talking about facing challenges. Now, I got some quotes that are good. I think this is really good. Ernest Hemingway said this: "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self." So I think that's so
good.
relevant. Yeah, because, this comes down to, what is our motive for facing challenges and trying to improve in our skills and our abilities? And for me, like, if it's something like sports related, I know Lee always says I'm like super competitive. I'm actually more competitive with myself. Like, I'm not necessarily going out there to beat somebody else. I'm going out to do better than I did before. It's really more like a personal challenge. It's like, I want to improve over my former self. And I think that's a good to carry into every aspect of our lives.
Right. And it is good. And that is, you're in competition with yourself. And keeping up with the Joneses and all of the, hype and everything. We all want to be relevant. We all want to leave a legacy. We all want somebody to remember us. But the fact of the matter is, how many of you remember somebody that's over 200 years old?
No. Unless they were one of the few exceptionally famous people.
Right.
But really, what difference does that make anyway when you're gone? It doesn't.
But what makes the most difference is, who did you lead them to?
Exactly. And what kind of influence did you have in a...
Were you kind?
Yeah.
Did you affect their soul? Yeah, we gave them entertainment. We gave them bread.
Right.
And we gave them entertainment. but did you give them a soul
Mm.
experience?
Right.
Something that changed it. Leave in the comments if you guys want to. It would be great to hear from some of you to say, what you have done in the past, or things that just changed your soul. Just you had an experience.
Yeah.
See, there you go to concerts and music concerts to get an experience.
Yeah.
You go to church sometimes. You want an experience with God. I mean, that's why most people should be going to church, is because you want to get closer to God and people.
Yeah.
And you go to have an experience with God. Are you just seeking for an experience, or are you coming to have service? I want to experience the real Yahweh,
whatever that looks
Elohim, whatever that looks like.
Right.
We have a lot of denominational differences in Christianity, that God comes this way, God does this, God doesn't do that, God doesn't do this. Well, he's God. He can do whatever he wants to. If he wants somebody speaking in tongues and laying down on the ground and rolling around, then have at it. If God wants good teaching in the church from the pulpit, then fine. If God wants you to go and stand on the side of the road, lift your arms up in the air and say, "Oh, wow, Lord, I love you so much," and you worship God out in the open, in the middle of the streets. Or if God wants you to lay on your side and cook your food over human dung, then you do that.
A reference to the book of Ezekiel.
Exactly.
Right.
So if he wants you to throw the branch of a hyssop tree into the water to cause an axe head to float, that's what you do. If he wants you to take your underwear and stick it in a rock and leave it there for however long, you do that. If he wants you to marry a prostitute, you do that. See
These are all
where we're
references
going?
to Old Testament
This Old
prophets.
Testament prophets that had to do these things. If you're a Christian and you go back and read all of these things and all of the laws and all of the different experiences, if God wants you to not cut your hair, don't cut it. Because you could be the thing that makes you lose your power.
Well, yeah, we're getting sidetracked, but this is so relevant, because obedience is everything.
It is.
And I was just thinking about an experience a few days ago where we went on a trip one time. And when I tell this story, I'm not saying that every little thing you have to do, you have to get God's approval. But if there's a check in your spirit and you're not sure that that's what God wants you to do, then you need to pay attention to that. So we went on a trip a long time ago and had just all kinds of terrible things happen. We almost drowned.
Oh, yes.
We encountered some really crazy things. We had a breakdown on the way home, and
we had satanic witch people who were putting curses on us. That was cool.
Yeah, it was. And I really went through some major spiritual struggles to overcome some of the things that we encountered on that trip.
Took years.
It did. It's crazy to think about. And I remember at one point I was praying, and I was just talking to the Lord, and I said, why did all those terrible things happen? And I mean, as clear as, I've ever heard the Lord, immediately my spirit, and I knew it was God, he said, I never told you to go on that trip. Oh, yeah. Now, again, that doesn't mean that every little thing you do, you have to get the Lord's approval, but if it's something big and there's something if you're not sure, you need to be sure.
Well, we always say we say follow the way of peace.
Right.
Because the Lord will lead you with peace.
Right.
There's always going to be something in your spirit.
Right.
And sometimes you'll have peace about doing something extremely challenging.
Right.
Like I have peace about going and teaching a class again. Well, I'm going to be teaching at the university again this semester. And it's been since 2022 since I've done a class or taught a class.
Right.
I'm a little intimidated.
Right. But you're doing it. You're facing the challenge.
I'm facing the challenge. And there's a lot of challenges.
That brings me to my next quote.
Oh, look at that.
Frederick Douglass, who said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
Frederick Douglass was a good man.
Absolutely.
Well, as far as I know.
Well, yeah.
History says he was a good man.
Exactly. And there are a lot of really great things about his story.
Yes.
Let me read the next one that talks about.
Those of you that don't know who Frederick Douglass was, he was the first black.
He was a freed slave.
But he was in Congress, right? At one point,
I don't know
was that right?
He was, but he definitely became a statesman.
He was that's what it was.
He was a prolific writer, speaker, orator, and did a lot of traveling.
He overcame odds. Let's just say that.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've read about Frederick Douglass, but absolutely. But this kind of ties into this Chinese proverb, which I see it from time to time, which says, "Be not afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still." So as long as we're moving forward, it doesn't mean that we have to take these giant leaps. It's just progress.
That reminds me of Dr. McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. McMahon has passed away within the past couple of years, and just a great man of God,
right.
And loved him dearly like a spiritual father. Both of us did. And matter of fact, this is his old house, and he sold this house to us.
Right.
And he would always, we would go to him and say, Lord, we would say, Lord.
No, we didn't say that.
We didn't say that. We would be praying, and we feel like the Lord was saying do something. And then we would go to Dr. Mack and say, Doc, we feel like we're supposed to do that. He's like, okay, well, then do that. And it was just so simple.
Yeah, it was great.
Just a simple thing that he would just encourage. He would just say, well, do that. And if that doesn't work, do something else.
Yeah. Just follow the Lord.
Just follow the Lord.
I
love it.
Well, it was so refreshing.
I miss that so much.
I do too. And it was so refreshing because, Lee and I didn't go to Bible college or seminary, but we've been very involved in ministry. And this is not to say that everyone was like this, but we did encounter some people who had certain ministerial training and who were also very young. And they were they kind of would look down on you like, whatever.
Yeah.
But here was a man, Dr. Oliver McMahon, who was super educated, very experienced, very well respected and regarded. And he treated us so well. Yeah. And really encouraged us to just follow what God had for us.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's so appreciated.
We owe a lot to him and Martha and their family. What a great family.
Absolutely.
Miss him very much.
Yeah.
We got to move on before I start crying.
Don't. At least been a little emotional lately. Well, let me close out with some final thoughts on some more quotes because I love them. Babe Ruth. We all know Babe Ruth, the baseball player for the New York Yankees. Yep. He said, "Every strike brings me closer to the next home run." And most of the time when we encounter something that we feel like is a strikeout,
right?
We want to let that shut us down,
right?
But you don't have to let it shut you down. I've encountered this even playing music, just as a bass guitarist. I'll see other bass players and I think I can't even do half of what that bass player can do.
Yep.
But if you really do keep taking those steps every day, one day you're going to turn around and be like, oh, well, I'm playing better than I was last year.
I'm playing a lot better than I was when I was 14.
Yeah.
When I started.
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah.
Same. So we keep moving forward.
Yeah. All right, and Babe Ruth was also, he's known for his home runs. He's known for that, his hard hitting. But what people don't really focus on is how many times he struck out.
Right.
He struck out way more than he hit.
Right.
And
sure. Well, yeah, everybody does, but
it was just part of it, though.
Right.
RBIs were. I don't know if his RBIs were very good either.
I'm not sure.
Because when he would swing, he'd swing for the fences every time.
Yeah, he was going for the.
He said
go for broke.
He's going to go all out.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, for sure. All right, I do like this George Eliot, who. I've read a number of George Eliot's books. If you don't know, George Eliot was the pen name of Mary Ann Evans.
Mary Ann Evans.
Back in the day, a woman couldn't really get published very easily, so she wrote under the name George Eliot. But she said, "It is never too late to be who you might have been." And I love that because
I like that.
So many times we think, this is just how I am. I've always been shy. I've always been this, and to a degree, there may be aspects of our personalities that is just who we are, and that's fine, and we need to accept it. But, maybe you say you've always been shy, but you really don't want to be that shy anymore. Well, take some baby steps to be a little more outgoing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be who you've always been.
And be okay with those awkward moments when you say something and somebody doesn't get it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Never has that happened to me.
Never has it happened to me either. I know. I feel like I have the kind of personality that if someone doesn't know me and I crack a joke in public, they have no idea that I'm joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then every once in a while somebody will get it, and that's always fun. But anyway, we're those kind of people, I guess. But I mean, I love that idea and really skill level. I have seen this in my own experience. I've seen it in other people. That's not like, we think, and who knows what the percentages are. People say, people who are really successful, it's this percentage of raw talent, this percentage of hard work, skill development. We don't know what those percentages are, but we do know that there are many, many talented people who don't do much with the talent they have. And there are people who have less talent and do a lot more with it.
Yes,
so it really comes down to how much do you want to put in?
If the talented people would not just depend on their raw talent and start developing it and marketing and do the things, they would be a lot more successful. But they depend on that raw talent to just always be there. Yeah.
Or use lack of raw talent as an excuse to not do what they really feel in their heart to do.
True. It works both ways. And I happen to be one of those people. It's like I depended on my raw talent for a long time until I started, I don't need lessons. I didn't get lessons before. I don't need lessons now. And then, but now I am watching every guitar video. I'm trying my best to become a better guitar player, and I'm going to guitar pools, and it is a fantastic thing to watch other people who have struggled just like you to do the things that you want to do, which is play guitar and sing.
There's always more development. I don't care who you are and what level you're at. There's always more to learn.
I had a weird uncle, but he gave, I didn't take any of his advice except for this one thing. He said, Lee, remember, there's always someone bigger and better and badder than you.
That's true.
And I said, all right. And I remember that. Yeah. And, he was a weirdo and a jerk, but I mean, that little bit of advice just really, it humbled me to think, I don't have to be the best.
No.
I can be the best of me.
Best version of you. That's right. All right. That's a great note to end on. Yeah. So let's all go and be the best version of ourselves this week. How's that?
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right. Well, guess what, guys? We will see you on the next episode.
See you guys. Y'all have a blessed day. Don't forget to subscribe and press the like button and notifications, the little bell, so that you'll get notified whenever our next episode comes out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.